Hello and welcome to the first episode of .NET Toolbox. In this episode, we will learn how to create a GraphQL API in .NET with the help of HotChocolate GraphQL Server and Entity Framework. Let's switch to VS Code and start with the development. As first step, what I'll do is I'll create a couple of projects, a normal API project and a library project to hold my models and DB context. Next, we will add the reference of our DB project to our main project. Now our projects are set up. And let's create our models that we need for our data. First, I will delete the class I don't need. And add the required packages. First package I'm going to add is entry framework code.design. That's the package required if you're doing any database operations like migration or scaffolding, etc. The second package is EF Core SQL Server. My database is SQL Server. That's why I'm using SQL Server. If you are using any other database like SQLite or Oracle or whatever, just choose the package accordingly. Now we can run the scaffold command with our connection string, database provider, and a directory for models, a directory for our context, and a context name. This will build the project and will generate the models and DB context based on our database. So as you see, all the models are here and our DB context. Now we'll switch to our main project and add the required packages for our HotChocolate GraphQL server. The first package is hotchocolate.ASP.NET Core. And second package is HotChocolate.types for our schema creation and etc. Now we have the required packages. We'll go to startup class and register our DB context first. Okay. Next, we will register our GraphQL server with our service collection because there will be certain things because we need to register our GraphQL server, our query types in case in future we'll do the mutation. So that's why I like to keep it in a separate class. Extensions. And let's create a class called service collection extension. Let's say save. So next we will register our HotChocolate GraphQL server with our service collection. And for that we need using HotChocolate. So, and for our schema definitions, we need to define our types. There are different ways, but I will go with the basic one. Customer query type. I'll give this query extended type. That's from HotChocolate. You can give it a name. Once we register it, you will see why we made it using HotChocolate.types. I will write just a simple method which will give me a list of customers that we have. iQueryable, it's from system link, and this service is from HotChocolate. Let's go back to our extension method and register our query type. We registered our query type, we named it not WinDB, and then we will register our extension type that we created. That is add type extension that we need. And our type name is query type dot customer query type. So the next thing we need to do is to add middleware for our endpoint for the GraphQL. And that we can do in our startup class, and we'll call endpoints dot map GraphQL. By default, it adds a tool for a UI tool for your query testing, and that's called banana cake pop. And if you can enable or disable it with options. I'll show you just to info new GraphQL options. To I will leave it true so that we can use it for our testing. Now we are set, and let's run the project. We just make sure we have saved everything. We have some error. We didn't register our services dot add my GraphQL server. That's the name we use for our extension method, right? Just to make sure if it's correct. And we are using GraphQL Api dot extensions. Let's build the project again. Now the project runs fine. We'll go to the browser, see everything runs fine. The GraphQL server adds the GraphQL at a point called GraphQL. And if we go to that endpoint, we'll see that it has added that's the tool I was talking about, Banana Cake Pop. And here you can see, you can test your queries. You have a tab where you can see all your documents. Here you can see your history. Here you can see all of your schema that you have or that your GraphQL server is offering. So here you can see all the schemas that you have for your customer. Let's write our first query. Okay. Okay, and we pasted this one customers. And once we execute, here we have the result. Let's go back to VS Code and add another type. What we're going to choose, for example, employees. Employee query time, and I will add some code snippet to save some time. And so we will build our project, see if everything works fine. Okay, so we'll go to our service collection extension and add our extension type. Imply GraphQL type. Strange name, but it's okay. Let's run our project. So now when we switch to browser, and if we refresh it, it will refresh the schema. And you can see that we have in our schema employees also available, and we can make new queries our employee types. For example, employees and first name, for example, last name. And once we run this query, you will get the result for your employees. At the moment, we are getting all of the data. We can put some filters on, but that we will see in the next episode, how you can optimize your queries and everything. But one thing I want to show you in this episode is, let's go back to VS Code and let's stop the service. We'll go to our settings and enable the logging for Entity Framework Core. What this will do is log all the Entity Framework cores, and we can see what queries are being sent to our database. Let's run the project. Project is running. Let's switch to browser again. We can see our queries. Once I click here, sorry, time, and I get my results back. Now if we switch to VS Code, we can see what queries are being sent to the database. As you can see, the query, even though we selected only two fields, first name and last name, but the query being sent to the database is with all the fields. So it's kind of overfetching the data from the database. How we can optimize this, that I will discuss in the next episode. In case you don't want to test your queries with like web UI, if you look at the request body, there are normal post requests. So you can do and with any other tools like Postman or something. We can go to the Postman and check if, let's see how we can do that. For example, here's my GraphQL. I can go to body, and here I have a GraphQL. Here I will paste my query. I'll copy the query from same, my web UI. You can see that it's a normal post request. Just in the body, I give my GraphQL query, and here are the results. So I hope you have learned something. Please like and subscribe, share, and source code I'll put in a GitHub repo. Feel free to check it out and use it. Thank you. Till next time.